And we're gone.
Gone like the wind.
In the wind, no less.
Pissing in the wind? What?
Somebody's pissing, but they ain't me.
Just don't be facing into the wind.
I don't
Tell me,
see.
my friends.
I don't
Is it-
see any Altum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember the name of the movie, but there's an old movie where a kid's on a boat and goes to pee off the side, and the guy that's like teaching him tells him to spit first, and he spits, and it lands in his own face. And he's like, maybe you want to pee off the other side.
No, it's valuable life skills. It's
Yeah.
absolutely. That's fantastic.
Infinite Gunworks, what's up? How we doing?
Hey, hello.
Yeah, stuff and things. Stuff and the things. Yeah, so Joe and I are remote from Vancouver. The west of the west is if we went any more west you'd fall off into the ocean.
You start going west.
Yeah, well, and then there's an island, but I don't know if I can make the swim. There's a bunch of little islands in between. If you knew where you were
eaten by an
going,
orca.
well, no, I'm just gonna ride him. He's my friend, you see.
Right, they're only the enemy of the rich.
While orca
They know.
maimings happen, orca deaths are very rare. So I'm going to take advantage of the statistic.
This is true, but that also like doesn't take into account all of the like yacht attacks. No,
Yeah,
I
I'm
haven't
not
killed
a
anybody.
yacht.
I'm not a yacht. Touche.
Are orcas murdering people on yachts? I thought they were
No,
just.
no,
they're
they're just disabling the yachts.
Oh,
They're
okay.
going
I
up
did-
and chewing rudders and
Good for
I
them.
did caveat that.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like all for eating the rich's boats for sure. And then the one specific orca started to teach the other orcas how to eat the boats, and it's become a thing in the Mediterranean, and that is funny. But they haven't learned it out west, so we're good. We're good.
True facts. I guess they don't travel that far, eh?
For those of us not watching the stream live, jump ahead roughly 15 minutes, probably closer to 12. We're way off schedule right now. But anyway, for the review of the QSP Penguin Buttonlock, as well as the QSP Walrus.
Woo.
Cuckoo.
I am.
Cooing?
Any
The walrus.
Cooing?
Anything
fancy? Anyone carrying fancy
I mean,
things? You got
nothing
surprises
new
over
fancy.
there? Nothing new fancy? All right, someone go first.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I went last week.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Cuckoo.
It's the same answer. It's a Chavez.
Of course, it's the same answer. If you had not been carrying that knife, I would ask, why not the Chavez? But there it is, the Chavez.
I think you're running into a problem, Paul. I really do. That's a good shot. Oh, sir. Is that flannel part of your crotch like my shot was too, or did you actually?
It's a Hank.
Nice. That didn't actually answer my question. That was a yellow Hank.
It's a yellow Hank? Yeah, that's all right.
Well, it's kind of orangey.
It's red in the picture. Oh yeah, that's kind of orange.
Well, you'll note in the picture there's red light on one side and purple light on the other.
Yeah. I did see the picture. I am enjoying that picture.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I think Chavez would appreciate that. Yeah, so you didn't actually answer my question, Paul.
What was that?
Was it taken in the picture was taken in your crotch? Like
it was not.
You just said it was on a Hank. You didn't actually answer my question.
That's fair. That's fair. I can officially say it was not a crotch shot. That is on like my windowsill. At like midnight, something like that.
CPM. Also, what's up? The D10's too stiff. Okay, so
false.
Well, I'm also a lefty, so I don't pin lock bars nearly as much. So anything titanium frame lock, I don't have that much of a tendency to pin,
We'll
right?
we'll talk about a stiff detent in a second here, but
You're a stiff detent.
see, I like stiff detents, and the Chavez is not quite as stiff as I would like personally. I don't think it's. I think maybe you handled a bad example, honestly. Riot's normally pretty consistent, but they're could be a slight.
My
There will be
Rhino's
a-
pretty crispy,
Yeah.
right?
This is a nice crispy detent, but it's not like also
You know-
Spidey flick it. It opens every time.
Yeah.
True story. You're a monster. Stop Spidey flicking thumb studs. I'm gonna start a petition.
What?
Never.
You don't like Spidey flicking thumb studs? It's
Not nearly as much. It's for holes. That's why the Spideys invented it.
the whole the Spideys known for their whole flicking.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they are.
yeah. I guess that we could segue into my carry actually. It was set aside specifically for the show while we were away, and I can't Spidey flick this because detent is too goddamn stiff. But it's an older military, and I say older because look at the size of that lanyard hole; it's tiny.
Just a little baby.
There's a little guy. Yeah, the detent on this is aggressive, and the lock bar strength on this thing is horribly stiff. I don't know what happened to this knife, but it's a great worker. I still like the military, but god damn,
It's not always been like that?
no, I don't think so. No, it's like
Wow. That didn't even
Yeah.
open.
yeah, I can purposefully make it fail by putting in just not enough.
Huh.
My other military, it just snaps open. This one, I actually have to like give some wrist to it. It goes, but my god.
I need some help.
I think I might, if the hardware wasn't stripped, I would like to disassemble this and then retension the lock bar gently.
I can get it apart for you.
Well, sure, but I want to put it back together, Dennis.
I
I
mean,
didn't say that part.
there's hardware packages you can buy nowadays.
There are. I'm just worried because this is an older model, so I don't know if it's necessarily going to be
Yeah.
compatible. But
True story. I will say, Joe, I know you took this shot outside where we've been staying, and I'm disappointed that you didn't point it in the direction that the trees on top of the roof were, because we've got a skyscraper above us that has trees. Like, I'm talking like 20 foot, like 15 to 20 foot high trees. Like, these are not small trees. They're full-fledged babam trees up in your
On
face.
the roof?
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of wild, actually. I'm going to
Are
see if
they
I can
like
pull
full
a photo from
trees
my
in
phone.
a planter?
You'd think, I don't know. I'm half a kilometer away looking 30 floors up.
We're
but
on a different building, so yeah.
I see. Touche.
I also have follow-up questions for how giant trees are growing up there. But
The roots
As
are
long as
just
we
go
are on
all
the
the way
same
to the
page there.
ground. I actually,
I just want to say I appreciate the shot, Joe.
yeah, I thought of you when I was doing it.
Yeah. Did you
yeah,
feel squirrely doing it?
Oh, a
you
little
didn't
bit. It was
have-
like,
didn't have thumbtacks to put on that one,
no, I did.
or not thumbtacks. I would be
Sticky tack.
laughing
Yeah.
much harder with thumbtacks.
Yeah.
Just
It's like,
tap
hey,
that down.
Where's Joe going with the hammer?
Pretty sure our Airbnb has a damage deposit.
Gently tap the tip of your knife into the aluminum handrail. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's good. It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
there.
Oh, there, Joe.
Oh,
there,
there's
boom,
there's
ba-bam.
a lot of trees on that roof.
There's
Yeah.
like I said, follow-up questions, sir.
We have bees on our roof,
Well, that's fun.
but
You got a,
yeah.
you got an apiary on your fucking roof?
We do. Yeah. We actually got honey
That's
from the building
Delightful.
manager. Free honey for everybody that lives here.
So those aren't small trees. Like,
No.
Those are not small trees. How windy does it get on the West Coast there?
Not windy enough, apparently.
Apparently.
those planters better be bolted down. No, it's West Coast gets ocean. I mean, the island blocks it a little
Yeah.
bit, but yeah.
Patty's potato peelers. Hello.
Hello,
How you
hello.
doing?
How we doing,
Got here
sir?
on time.
Long time no see for the stream. Glad you joined us. Glad you joined us.
Absolutely.
What are you
Um,
carrying? All y'all, because I don't think I've got any reactions from those.
That is fair. CPM saying that the screwless Chavez. It's not called Chavez thumb for no reason. Mine has screws, so
See, that's man. We could have a whole episode bitching about thumb stud knives. People talk about Sebenza thumb and how awful the thumb stud is. It's not that bad. It's pretty okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm I know I'm fine with some weird ergos, but I never found it to be a big problem.
The Ben or it's not nearly as bad as Gail Bradley thumb, but
Well,
I need to interject here. Infinite is carrying his Rook P801 because his para 2 is in timeout for cutting him.
yeah, all right.
That was important. Okay, I needed to say it.
well,
No,
for the
it's good.
record,
Good.
that's what you get when you mess with the warrior.
Yeah.
But
The
so,
para warrior.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the pygmy
no,
warrior.
no, dude, I would totally buy a para 2, but with a warrior blade. Absolutely, I would.
I just invented a thing accidentally.
you
Neat.
might get me on a compression lock, you sons of bitches.
That's terrible. I can't wait. Also,
you can
Patty,
wave the really thick serration. You can wave them off your pocket as you're opening the knife. For the record, yeah.
I just
Just
clicked
open your pocket.
that if it's 7 for Patty now, or 7 for Paul now, that means it's like 2:30 in the morning for Patty. Good God, sir, thank you for joining us, but feel free to take off at any time. That's late.
Indeed.
Ria Tiger and Natural Zerkutai for CPM. That's
Ooh.
fancy blingy
Nice,
good
nice.
times. Yeah.
Indeed. I don't know if I know the tiger.
Riot Tiger. I'll try and bring up a picture here.
Oh, Patty's going with classics, man. You sons of bitches are gonna make me start breaking out traditionals again. I went through a phase. They're fun. I got some.
I do want that one brought up as well
That's,
afterwards.
The GEC number 56, the Harlequin. I think I've seen this one on his channel recently, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to pull that up. But first, here's the Tiger with Zerk. Oh, so that's
Justin's
the tie.
also
Cool.
carrying a bunch of discomfort because he got his wisdom teeth pulled out.
Ooh.
Oh no, all your smarts are gone.
My condolences.
Yeah.
Even after just laughing at you like that.
My condolences.
Aw.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate that
that's
all the way.
awful.
Yeah, good stuff. Speaking of condolences, we can segue into what I'm carrying.
Yeah, I just wanted to see
Absolutely.
what Patty was carrying here. Ooh, yeah, with the easy pull. Look at this. Reverse dog leg. Okay.
Yeah, a little crook.
He did mention the Harlequin covers.
Oh, that's a good looking knife.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
all about that.
classy. That's classy as hell.
And the ASK, that's the Medford multi-tool.
This looks very similar to the GEC that Shabazz had it as a wedding knife, but his got the like notch dremeled into it in the handle. Yeah, it's very similar too. Can't help but notice. Anyway,
Patty's got a customized version of one of these. Cal has one of these. The
oh yeah, sure
the
does.
American Service knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super cool.
Carry.
Oh yeah. I like those things. Apparently Infinite is having fun with his liquid diet.
Yeah,
A lot of lean.
I see all the air quotes for once my chat's working, and I'm glad it is, because this is great.
The only thing that I want to add is you can take a milkshake and blend it with other things. That is technically a liquid diet as well. And if you get one from McDonald's, you don't have to worry about any dairy being in it.
Yep, that's a funny way to call them out, but yeah, absolutely. All right, Dennis, what are you carrying?
Workhorsey. I went. It's a knife that I used to carry out in the bush a bunch, and then I stopped carrying it. And then Joe, I had it waiting for me in Vancouver, and beat the crap out of it. It's good stuff. It used to have a black blade, but the black blade was so terribly sharpened that all the coating was coming off of it when I bought it. So I just made it into a silver blade, but it's BHK. It's
very nice.
I like that thing.
When you first started saying it's a knife I used to use out in the woods, I was like, wait a minute, I bought that from you, and I have one of these, but I didn't buy it from you.
So yeah, the other thing I will note, this is also hanging off of our balcony, looking down over the pond. But if you zoom in between my ring finger and my pinky finger, and scroll over. I don't know if Joe can notice that, but right between my two fingers, if you scroll past and look down into the pond, there's a pair of mating ducks sitting right next to my ring finger. There's the mallard, and then behind it is his partner, mate. Yeah.
Nice.
But I tried to get, it was not quite as in focus, but yeah, there's ducks in the middle, and it's like in the middle of like a pond in the middle of like a courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just ducks hanging out in the courtyard. Like
And
they were here again today, and then yeah.
And trees on top of the buildings for some reason. Yeah.
For the ducks, obviously, Joe. For the
tell
ducks.
we can tell we're in BC. That's all we're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Good shot. That's a knife they never should have discontinued.
Are mallards on the aggressive side of duck love? I feel like they might be.
Yeah. Oh, straight up. Straight up. She's a brave woman.
Yeah. He's pulling feathers, is he?
Well, not that I've seen, but I'm sure it happens.
Just saying.
On the note of pulling feathers, do we want to get into a penguin?
Yeah, we can get right into it.
I couldn't make that joke with the walrus. It doesn't make sense. That's stupid.
Look, you'll be so famous when you come home with walrus feathers.
Well, feathers.
Yeah, feathers.
Feathers.
And then you can't even segue into a carpenter joke to go along with that walrus. It's just it's hard. It's way better to start with the Buttonlock penguin. It's just easier to make the joke, and then everyone laughed.
You got to be careful of beetles with those walrus feathers.
I don't know what to say here.
That's the only segue I got. Okay.
Listening to that made my neck sore.
Good. You carry the weight of my jokes. I don't want you anymore.
You leave your burdens behind, sir.
I will not.
So yeah, Buttonlock penguins. You see, is this the only picture of just the two of them without the buttons showing? Yeah. Well, we can show off the walrus too at the same time. Why not? Yeah. So the big news here, the big reveal, the big dealio is that there's.
Did I really only take this one shot of them together?
Were there buttons on both sides?
Of just the two, and the buttons are away from the camera. Yes, I think. You actually took another photo of them together, but it was also the clip side on those.
Oh, funny.
I find that very funny. No, this works out okay. So here's your size comparison with the walrus. The Buttonlock penguin, do we have a size comparison with the regular penguin?
No. The only size comparison I got was the dragonfly.
Here, I'll give you a size comparison. They're the same.
Is that? Well, I was gonna say they're pretty much identical in terms of profile, aren't they?
Even length, blade, blah blah blah. Like I don't think there's much difference at all.
What about handle thickness? That was the only thing I had to ask about. Was the?
I'm pretty sure it's thicker. Handle thickness wise would be the one variable because they threw bearings in the Buttonlock.
Yeah.
Infinite saying, I don't know, Paul. Somebody's got to carry this podcast. And yeah, but it's the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other.
Nobody wants to do it. Yeah,
it's your job.
Nose game. Yeah. Yeah. So Buttonlock also changed. Plates.
1428.
Yeah. 1428 for the blade steel, and then plates for the pocket clip instead of a inset.
Indeed. Yeah. Not the wraparound clip.
To get into some actual specs.
Elations?
Yeah. No, actual information.
Okay.
So G10 offering directly on Cutting Edge Cutlery Co.'s website, because QSP keeps on giving me 404 server down. I'm guessing Chinese New Year is messing with things.
Yeah.
But you can't even really find a penguin right now on QSP's website, so that's fun. But blade length is just a hint over 3 inches. Overall, just a hint over 7 inches. 14C28 Sandvik. Blade thickness is 0.122. That doesn't give me mils. What is 122, Joe?
Oh, sorry. What was that? The
blade thickness for 122. Well, how many mils?
From inch to millimeters, that's 3. 3 millimeters, that's almost on the nose.
I kind of figured you'd know those things. Overall weight is 3.53 ounces for the G10 version. I don't know if there's 3.18 on the micarta. significantly light. Well, not significantly, but a little lighter
Yeah.
on that sub bitch. Oh yeah, lefty righty. They gave us plates, like
Yeah.
Joe was saying. Some plates.
So they switched over to a flipper thumb stud combo for this guy. It's the same flipper profile they had on the large penguins. Other than that, I think the profile is actually the same. I'm just trying to remember if there's much else different. Could you hold yours up again?
Did they try to make the flipper look like an actual flipper? Because they succeeded, and it's terrible.
Now, prime option for a flipper delete, though.
It really should have just been the same shape as the guard. And
Well,
just disappeared into the guard.
Okay, so here's the thing: the guard and the distance from the top of the pivot to the top of the spine of the handle is about the same.
So you will actually note, and I don't know if I can actually get a zoom in on this, where the choil is on mine. If you can see,
yeah, you may
the stop
maybe
pin.
try holding your knife like this, where the light can hit it.
Well, no, I'm pointing like right there.
Yeah,
It's not a flipper, and the tang is already equal.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
that's
so
the stop pin there.
They had to go with an elongated flipper design in order for that to work. What they could have done was extended the handle downwards anyway, because of the flipper tab, you shouldn't be able to touch it anyway. But then visually, it would be even more different from the original Penguin, so I can understand why they did it this way. But
is it weird to say that I don't like the fact that they have both options on a budget knife?
No, I agree.
Because
both
if
options
you gave me
of thumb stud and flipper, you mean?
Yeah. If you give me a bunch of options on a super expensive, silly toy that I'm going to flip around and not cut a lot of things with, I'm cool with it because I like to flick my knife in a bunch of different ways. But if I'm going to buy a Penguin, I'm going to buy it to use it hard, and I'd rather have either the advantage of having thumb studs and no flipper, or the advantage of a flipper and no thumb studs.
So we have talked in the past, and we talked about it briefly, and then we talked a little bit more in depth about it off camera at one point in time. But there is secondary selling markets where thumb studs are actually the strange requirement to be able to sell that knife on that secondary seller market.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So it could be a strategy to be able to.
And it makes sense that they want to do that with the Penguin, given how popular the original models have been. Looking at the Walrus in this photo here, it only has the flipper, and it looks like it's the same profile for the flipper tab, so they know how to implement it correctly. But yeah,
and I mean, I will say too, like I would have been fine with it just having thumb studs as well, rather than the flipper.
Yeah, at least the thumb studs don't go too far into the cutting path of the blade. It is sharpenable. It's not going to get in the way that badly. But I do agree. I wish they would have chosen one direction and had gone with it.
You know, it would be kind of cool if they had done it. And I don't know, there might have been some modification needed to be able to get away with it.
Right.
But rather than thumb studs that are just in the way of the path, if you make those thumb studs the stop pin.
Stop it. Stop talking. Stop talking right now.
I think he's channeling Kit Carson. Yeah.
And just tuck them out of the way.
I don't think it's a bad idea. The problem...
I'm having PTSD from a 562. Shut your face.
I mean, don't flipper delete it. You'll be fine.
I just wanted to Spidey hole it, okay? You can't do it. Fucking wrecks that knife. Anyway.
Yeah. That is something to keep in mind, too, is if you end up having a dirty work knife where the front end of the handle could potentially get absolutely filthy and covered with gunk. Now you're actually interfering with your lockup a lot more easily than you would if you had an internal stop pin on the inside of the handle.
Stop digging around in dead pigs with your knife.
Well,
and I mean, obviously, I probably should stop, but I'm not going to.
Swine, is that better?
Yeah,
I'm talking about like farm animals.
Oh, there you go. Visually, I agree, though. It would be nice to have the thumb studs, mesh with the handle a little bit more. But
like, you could put them if the only requirement is that it has thumb studs to be sold in that market. I guess you could make them so they're not stop pins, but they're just out of the way as much as you could. And they're
Yeah.
not great. They wouldn't be great thumb studs, but
The only other thing that I would say is that you can absolutely remove these thumb studs with T6 Torx.
that is fair. They're basically benchmade thumb studs, right?
Yeah, almost. They're probably from the same factory from the looks of things. You could theoretically, if you really didn't like the look of the hole in your blade, you could take like a little piece of copper wire, peen it down, sand it flush, or even dome it. Like you could do decorative things to, deal with the fact that there's a small hole in your blade.
You're gonna get sued by
Volpex Knives is
Volpex.
doing?
I was gonna say you're gonna get sued by Volpex for doing that. That's
You don't
their
think
trademark.
you don't think Elishwitz is already pissed at them? He's been doing that shit for years.
Don't worry about it, man. It's
Oh well, Volpex isn't worried about it.
And I'm pretty sure Howard Vale has got some shit in that to say about that too, maybe. But yeah. And just for the record, these variations are all available on Cutting Edge's website. Little plug there, but also they do make a JG10 version.
Yes.
And all of the handle, that's one of the things I'll say about QSP is all of the variations you can get in satin hardware or satin blade or black hardware with black blade. I like it. I appreciate where they're coming from there. It kind of annoys me when guys are like, you can only get this variation with this color and this variation with this color. I'm like, but you're making all of them. So why can't you just say whatever you want you can have type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud QSP for just giving you just like, you want the silver one, you want the black one, here's both all the time, 24/7, here you go. So
especially when they have the capacity to offer it, like why not?
well,
yeah,
Benchmade with your handle colors of this and this and this and blade colors of this and
yeah.
Having an uncoated blade on, say, like a MagnaCut tagged out, that would be neat.
But you don't like the orange? I mean,
with the orange, you just have to wait a little bit, and you'll have a servo blade anyways. But that's
you
fine.
can blade swap with 154 CM one and have an all orange knife.
I could do that. I could. You're right.
That's probably the worst thing you've said in several days, Dennis.
Joe saying
the weekend's
that
not over. The weekend's not over, Joe. It's
So
CPM fanboy, the 154 fanboy, I should say.
I'm gonna go through the effort and the money just to get the MagnaCut blade, and you're swapping it out for 154. I mean, not only that, but just visually an all orange knife. Get the fuck out of here. At least put some tiger stripes on it. Come on.
No, the orange blade is going to be the MagnaCut part of it.
That's
the
what I'm
orange
saying.
handle from the 154.
Yeah, but I don't want the orange blade, sir.
I like how the thumb studded S45 one wasn't even an option.
Oh no.
No, that I'm going to put on Flightanium hardware. Come on, man,
Oh,
keep
there you
up. Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, see? All of a sudden, I'm making $1,000 sales on Cutting Edge because guys are buying double tag notes with Flightanium hardware. You're welcome.
That's as close as a common man can get to a Sliz Bowie nowadays if they made a titanium handle.
No.
Oh.
Well, I learned recently that Knifejoy is they're doing their exclusive again.
The one that everyone got mad about?
Yep,
Yeah,
but they're adding a lock bar. Lock
They're
bar interface and
making
stabilizer.
it worse. And something else, wasn't it?
Over
travel.
Yes, the over travel stop. Yep, all built in. It's good stuff.
All right. Still wire clip?
Still wire clip, still M390, still blue tie, and it's not stonewashed at all, which sucks. It's a satin, but hey, if you want it, it's about the only way to get a new one. So. We should probably keep talking about penguins.
So Penguin Buttonlock, pros and cons. What do we got? Pros, cons, pro connoisseurs.
Here's a pro. It's a button lock.
Here's a con. It's a flipper.
Here's a pro. It's on bearings. Here's a con. It's on bearings.
Here.
I like washers, man.
Ceramic bearings.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole industry is moving that way. It doesn't make sense to go with steel bearings if you can get ceramic.
I agree.
Yeah. How do we overall feel about this knife? I like the OG one. I don't think this fixed this knife. I think they should button lock Elementum a penguin. and just do it with the button and be done with it.
Yeah,
That'd be
that'd
fun.
make me happy. No flipper, no thumb studs.
You guys were
yeah.
talking about the way to do it. I'm like, the way to do it is just put the button in it and go shunk. Like, and that's what QSP should do.
So I'm gonna satisfy Mr. Fisk right now and ask the question: at what point is the Penguin QSP's bug out?
When the
How many
ceiling
times-
when the ceiling crashes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But like we get annoyed with Benchmade for it, and Benchmades are still selling
So
bug outs like mad.
They haven't come up with a
comparatively.
flipper bug out yet, though.
No, they need Kershaw to do that for them.
Buttonlock flipper bug out.
yeah, you're not fucking wrong. Here's a relevant size
Oh,
comparison.
Can you imagine a button Elementum Benchmade bug out?
Or what? Button lock? Yeah, with a bug out. Yeah. It's called an auto, sir. Benchmade would just make an auto in that situation. Knowing
But
Benchmade's.
if they made the auto and then just modified it in such a way, remove the spring and modify it so it can't be modified back so that we can have it.
I'm not saying
Here's hopes and dreams.
Because their autos lock closed, right?
They
have
do,
to,
which
the way
is
they work.
This is why I've wanted the fancy version of the Fact since it came out, because I thought, hey, if I take out that fucking firing spring, it's all of a sudden very legal and very sexy still.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Do you have a super blue dragonfly, Paul?
I do. No, I have a Tufoku too. Vutoku.
Vitoku. Okay.
Vitoku. Yeah.
It's not a super blue.
No.
It slowed me down there for a second. I was like,
Did you
we need to talk, sir.
Did you rub a permanent marker along that edge, Paul?
No, that is my patina.
Yeah, that is a dark as shit patina, sir.
That's 5 days in a manga.
Yeah, congratulations. That looks like fucking permanent marker. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's what I'm experiencing this weekend. 5 days in a mango. Fucking
Oh my god. Okay.
I'm gonna come out looking like that, man. Come on.
I mean, there's worse things. The cool thing about this knife, just a quick aside, the stainless steel cladding, it doesn't cover the entire spine of the knife. So through the jimping on it and down the spine of the knife is also black.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's down the swedge, it's got this like intermeshing of stainless fingers that half cover over it. It's cool as hell.
That's fun.
That's pretty nice. Laminated steels are sick.
Yeah, I literally bought this one because I skipped on a on a super blue Delica years ago, and have kicked myself since.
Here's the kicking.
But I've had this thing a while, because you can tell, because my lanyard on it sucks.
It gets the job done.
It is functional.
So, Paul, in any of your photogs, did you take a picture of the screws by any chance?
I don't know. I took a picture of the spine of the black knife showing the plates where the button lock is. You might be able to see it in that photo.
Okay. So they're not great on the original Penguin, but they're worse on the button lock.
Super plain or what?
No, just how high raised up they are, that they're going to just be chewing your pocket because the screws are...
Oh, in the pocket clip.
Yeah, inside where the pocket clip sits. Like if you look at mine, they're not great, but they're enough rounded, blah, blah, blah type of thing.
Yeah.
Did they fix that problem, or was it the Walrus? I can't remember. One of them I was looking at before we left.
I think. Well, the Walrus looks pretty. Wait a second. See, this looks pretty. This looks pretty flush. Okay. I mean, we're not looking at the flat of the handle. There might be little nubs, but it won't be much. It won't be as bad as like my Epon.
I do have a couple
that
photos.
Actually looks pretty good. That looks like they actually fixed it a little bit.
The Walrus doesn't have a deep carry clip, so the screws aren't a concern as far as pocket shredding.
Okay, no, it was. Yeah, it was.
It's just it's the what's it called? cold steel clip on that thing. That's the problem.
Yeah, the weird swoop, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a. We're talking about it. I should probably find it. I saw it. Yeah, there's the photo. Yeah, that's strange. The Walrus is righty only for carry, hey? Right side tip up.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It
Because
was,
of that curve, they don't give you a backup clip in the pocket.
Correct.
Yeah.
Word.
But yeah,
Big Richards.
I don't know if I have a lot purely negative to say about the Buttonlock Penguins. The buttons sit a little high for my liking, but I also have my Kaiser Cormorant that I like, and it has a pretty high button. So I mean, does that really matter all that much?
Hey Joe, is there a passion fruit orange guava tequila drink in the fridge?
I don't know, but I can find it.
That's just calling my name. Well, not you necessarily, but I was.
Oh, I'm the only one here.
Had a garçon help it. We're the only one here. Oh, I'll do the run. Whatever.
Garçon's gone to bed.
Oh, you better not. We're supposed to eat later.
Oh, pool boy.
I can hear him talking. He might be on the phone.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll go get my own beer if that's the case. But
wow.
Basically, my thoughts on this are: if you like the penguin and you like button locks and you haven't bought a penguin yet, I would buy this knife. If this was at the same time as the other penguin, I might have bought this option.
See, I'm slightly torn on that. I think if you're gonna beat the hell out of the knife, I would stick with the original.
Really, D2 over the 14C Sandvik.
No, washers over bearings.
That's the big reason. Yeah, if you're gonna be really rough with this knife, the washers make more sense. And yes, it's D2, but I haven't run into a situation where I'm using the knife as a knife and I've had the blade chip out or anything like that.
I'm gonna say something controversial.
Sure,
clean your fucking knives.
Yeah, you should be cleaning them, 100%. But there are situations, there are jobs you might work where you can't necessarily stop to clean your knife, and stuff gets gross.
Keep your knife out of a pig's butthole.
I don't know if you're referring to my pocket as a pig's butthole or not, but
Oh, I mean, I wasn't, but I am now.
You are now, so
definitively.
Thanks, I guess.
Oh, either. Yeah. You got the old sphincter pockets, huh?
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, sphincter pockets. God. Well, so I've never had the situation where I've had like bad rust accumulate on bearings in pocket knives before. But I used to work in a styrofoam manufacturing plant, and it was incredibly humid next to the actual equipment that was used to press everything with steam. Mm-hmm. And if you weren't careful, you would end up with tools that had those problems. The closest I got was my ZT 560 CBCF. The bearings were actually starting to accumulate a little bit of rust from the side of the blade, which was bead blasted. Fuck you, ZT. Don't stop bead blasting shit. Yeah. They basically just don't wash everything now. It's fine. But I've been in situations where it's like, yeah, this is an actual concern, and I don't like having to think about it. You know,
are ceramic bearings a concern in that situation?
Not so much, but the surface area, the grinding of things up, and the wearing of a track on the inside of the blade can be a concern. The bearings themselves, in this particular case, you are right, are probably not so much a concern, but
isn't 14C Sandvik pretty damn stainless too?
Pretty stainless, but if you let things accumulate, and if they're corrosive elements especially, you can run into problems. So again, like kind of a dirty work knife where you're not sure what you're going to be cutting that day, but you know it's going to be gross. I tend to lean towards washers, even if the steel itself isn't as corrosion resistant. And I will say that the D2 on the QSP Penguin, well, the QSP lineup in general, seems to be pretty stain resistant.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I got a Kershaw leak just rust on me once, but it was left out in the snow over a winter.
Yeah. So. And bead blasted too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's the leak, so yeah.
Yeah.
It's that weird.
Yeah, I
was it the blade or the handle or both?
Blade.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm really not a fan of bead blasting on steel. It's just you're just asking for problems with rust.
I guess we already addressed this by the fact that we talked about the fact that it's the same size as a regular penguin. But I did take the obligatory in hand, closed hand, open hand.
Yes, I had that up a few moments ago. Yeah, so closed hand with the green. Yeah. And I got a closed
I like
hand,
it.
open hand with the black as well.
I got bearing grease on my finger in every one of these photos.
That's what you're gonna say it is.
Well,
I am. That's exactly what I'm gonna say it is.
Not wrong.
It's all right. Can you tell what the background is?
It's a paper bag, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Good job.
Well, they don't call him the paper bag princess for nothing.
Oh, is that what they call
I
it?
mean, other than the tragic death of my family to dragons.
It's tragic for you, but those dragons kept living.
I mean,
Allegedly.
not for long.
It's
Put a
revenge.
stop to that. It's my revenge tour. You don't even know. I'm making some paper bag armor.
So,
It's paper mache.
Yeah.
no one's got anything overwhelmingly negative? Any reason somebody really shouldn't buy this knife?
I like the original one myself. Over
do
this
too.
guy. Thickness, it is a little chunkier this way. It's noticeable enough that she's got a little chunk in this direction.
Yeah. Button lock mechanisms be what they be. Yeah.
Yeah, and the G10 being like, I don't know what they changed on it. Probably just to house the bearings as well.
I will say this:
Delicious,
my previous
by the way.
comment about picking this option over the original. I wasn't thinking about cost in that situation. So just based off of that alone,
we
I
should
would probably
talk
go
about
with the
that.
original as well.
So, what is the percentage difference? It's like not quite twice the cost of the original, but it's close.
It's like 65, right? 70?
These guys on Polar Bear dollars are $79.99 for
Okay.
the button lock, and they're still 45
Yeah.
Polar Bear dollars.
So about a little under twice the price. At that point, you have to ask how much a bearing action in 14C and a button lock are worth to you.
Yeah, based off of that purely alone, I would go with the D2 one for
If
a
you're-
knife that I'm going to beat up on and get dirty and get gross. And
Yeah, I would think that if you're in a situation where a finger safe lock is paramount for you, then yeah, I would consider the upgrade and I wouldn't think twice about it. But if you're comfortable with liner locks, then I think the original might be better in a lot of situations.
Finger safe locks.
Yeah.
Just don't buy a Smith & Wesson. You'll be fine.
Yeah. You won't have any fingers afterwards, and then you'll be.
None of them are finger safe locks. Yeah, exactly. Even the ones that
look, once I have my hook,
that was a fixed blade.
I'm holding my knife in the hook. It's all finger safe from then forward.
Why do you need a hook? Can't you just have the blade like installed in the socket?
Oh, God, I hope so.
Yeah, fuck yeah. We'll make you something. We'll make it work.
Which hand do I go with?
As long as it's a Cinqueta.
Oh, you know it's gonna be the Cinqueta.
I am down for that.
Awesome.
Yes, this is what I have now.
What the hell is that? It's a cooking knife.
Can you put a diamond carbide tip on it?
I really got to practice my left hand chops because I don't know if I'm willing to give up my right hand.
You'll get lots of practice. Don't worry about that.
What if you put them on both hands?
And both feet.
Edward sword hands.
Yeah.
You never wipe your butt again, which is not ideal.
I suppose we should probably mosey on over to the Walrus.
Yeah.
We can. I think that's about it. They went back to the triangle for the pivot on Q.
Yeah, that might be worth the upgrade to get back to the triangle pivot. But they still kept the stupid fucking logo on the blade. Come on.
Mine doesn't have any pivot. See this? There's nothing on a penguin. There's still just a pivot on a QSP.
Just a round pivot.
It's just.
Well, look, you have to quantify the expenditure some way. So a customized pivot might be part of it.
Yeah, potentially.
I hope to God, I haven't played with enough QSPs disassembly, but I hope to God they're keyed.
I think they are, because even the one that you have, The one that you have is keyed, I'm pretty sure.
It is, but especially with the ones that are, yeah, because mine is just flush on this side anyway. There's no
Yeah, I think
screw hole.
I'm
Right?
pretty I'm fairly certain they are, but yeah.
Because especially with that, that's the way they should do it. Instead of putting a torque on one side that doesn't move, Spyderco.
Yeah, that's always been really confusing to me. Like, just if it's not going to move in the fucking first place, and I don't have to put a tool in it, just leave it smooth. What the
Why
hell?
would you put a
Why would
screw
you confuse people so
fitting?
they break things?
Why would you put a screw fitting? Yeah.
You used to do it correctly. What the hell happened? Yeah.
What? That one doesn't need anything? No, more machining. We got to charge more money. Stamp that shit in.
Yeah.
The Riot is a free spinning pivot, just for the record. No, the Chavez, I should say.
And Dick Richards stands. We haven't talked to in a couple weeks as well. I will comment on that guy, but we will be reaching out soon because the product is on the way in. As far as the Patreon contributor stands, it's also one of those. So we'll probably be reaching out in the near future just to make sure that he's got product coming and he knows what it is, and make sure that everything's alive. Well, we'll keep you updated if we haven't heard further. But yes,
Indeed.
Go ahead and slide into his DMs from time to time if you want. You know,
he's not on the gram.
No. I don't know how to slide into DMs on YouTube. I don't know if that's even a thing.
YouTube
DMs are not a thing
YouTube,
on YouTube.
Used to have a mailing system, but they got rid of that some years ago, I think.
They realized that was terrible.
Well, it was good for content creators to talk to each other. The problem was that it gave you free access for anybody to send you a DM.
For trolls. All the trolls. Yeah.
Which you could just solve by adding a button that gave you the option to only talk to added friends. But, you know, whatevs.
Sorry. That's way too much work. On to are we done, Penguin?
I think so. It's a decent knife if you like bearings and flippers and button locks.
I don't even know if I have a good rating for this. I don't know. I don't know if I have. How many more pitches do we have to cycle through on the Penguin button lock?
You get. I rate this this penguin one penguin in a tuxedo because it is a slightly fancier penguin. There you go.
Is it a blue fairy penguin?
Is that a thing?
I believe.
That sounds like it could be a risky Google, but
it's not a work computer. You're fine.
Blue fairy.
That's been one of the
Wait,
least.
What? Oh my God! Their name is Little Penguin, a species of penguin from New Zealand. They are commonly known as fairy penguins and little blue penguins.
That's adorable.
Oh my God!
You're welcome for the random shit that's in my brain.
That's the most hesitant I've seen Joe try to type something into a search in a long time. He's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to type those words together.
We're not in my house right now, so I can search whatever I like, and I won't fucking be here when the cops show up. No, but Little Penguin, that is fucking adorable, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at his little face.
CJ, thanks for joining us. Yeah, someone's showing off a Chavez, but you know, it's
no reason.
Got hardware on the outside, so
yeah,
it's okay.
It's mighty smooth right now.
All right. I'm gonna rank this knife a school bus full of penguins.
Okay.
But driven by a nun.
So they're not going anywhere fun.
Well, no, she just blends in. But someone's got to lead, so do it in the name of Christ, right? So
I thought you were going to say off the bus.
Oh God.
No. Actually, that's in honor of Johnny. He always used to joke around about a bus full of penguins. So you have to have a nun driving it because, she hovers as she leads the rest of them that are waddling. It's a funny image, and especially up the stairs into a school bus. It's like it writes itself. It really does. If you think about the imagery behind it, just go with it, you sons of bitches.
Oh, it sounds adorable. I'm on. It's cute. I'm into cute shit.
I just want to know where they're going, so I can watch the movie.
Yeah,
they've got to be going on some kind of grand adventure.
Well,
Like
that's
their zoo is closing down and they're moving to a new zoo, or they're being
No,
re-released into the wild.
they're gonna go assault IBM.
maybe they're all just going to shave the tops of their heads and they have to become monks at a monastery. It is driven by a nun. You don't know where this movie's going.
They'll be making a fish lager going forward.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be brewed every
The
3
old
to
herring
5
lager?
years. Yeah,
Sounds like the kind of thing a walrus would drink.
in limited quantities.
Look, herring lager is definitely something produced in Iceland. That's all I'm saying.
If you can't tell, that was an attempted
Oh, it
segue to
was.
this.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, Joe was trying. Paul was
No.
flogging dead horses or
Yes.
dead penguins, as it were. How dare you,
Oh.
sir?
Look,
What did the
I'm
penguin
going
ever
to
do?
I'm going
to
to
you?
take 2 penguins, tie them together, and make penguin chucks. And I'm going to use those penguins to beat up other penguins.
That sounds horrible.
Indeed.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to slap a walrus.
Also rude.
That's
As
also
long
my
as
attempt of
You do it
getting
with
over to a walrus.
emperor penguins because the head. And that's a
Those
good
are
time.
big chucks, though. Like,
I know, but you gotta.
You're
fight
not
a
hiding
walrus-
that.
You gotta fight a walrus afterwards, dude.
yeah, they're
You
only
can't-
1,500 pounds. It's fine.
Can't do that with baby chucks. Like it's.
Oh no! Watch him. He's gonna
Yeah.
do it. He's gonna.
Well, he's gonna try. My money's on the walrus, but it's
I'm going to end up with some random walrus-shaped holes in my body.
you're
It's
gored.
fine.
Gored.
Speaking of walrus-shaped holes, that blade does not look like a walrus tusk. It's
Oh.
a little bit too curved. A little bit too curved.
It's a-
No, you just
it's
gotta
a
think about it
Persian
like
walrus?
this. You gotta reverse grip it down your
Well,
teeth.
No, I just say the curvature seems a little much for a walrus tooth or tusk. But
It's a Persian walrus. Don't be racist.
You
so-
don't know.
I actually really like this.
You haven't been there, dude.
Yeah.
I've seen walruses.
Okay, so you don't like Persians, but every time we see a new
Yeah.
Persian blade, you're like, I like it.
I don't know what the fuck's
I don't
wrong
like
with me.
it. It's a Persian blade. I've really like Persian blades. It's yeah.
But
I like the
ground
lines
so
of it. I don't
nicely.
want to own it, but I like the
Oh
lines
no,
of it.
I like it. I like the fact
think-
that it exists and it feels nice flipping it open. And it's,
I think I've personally come to the conclusion that I like Persian fixed blades. I don't like Persian folders. I've never seen a Persian folder that I'm like, man, I want that. But there's several Persian fixed blades, and I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. I dig
Okay,
it.
you say
I'm
that,
trying to
but
think of a Persian
you
fixed
have
blade.
you have a talwar, don't you?
Look at the spine on a talwar.
Okay, fine. It's not even a trailing point. It's
It's straight spined, yeah.
It is
It's
straight
100% straight spine. It doesn't arc in the slightest.
okay,
It's
but
not
that
I will
if we
say
were to-
this tip is not particularly high compared to
no,
the.
it. You're right. It doesn't come that far back, Paul. It's barely
But-
a trailing point, but still.
it wants to come back, but it doesn't come back that far.
I
Yeah.
do like the S curves in my knives. As far
Yeah,
as that
Aesthetic-
goes.
like the
aesthetically, this thing looks great.
462-ish. Yeah.
Like
Looks
the
like-
profile looks super sharp. Yeah.
I will say for a non-bird name, I think a walrus is a good fit for this name.
What, you
for-
don't
for
like
this
pangolin?
knife. Well, this doesn't look like a pangolin.
No. Neither does the pangolin.
Well, it looks more pangolin-y than this knife does.
You got me.
Was it what was the other one? The locust? That thing looks like a locust.
That
It
thing
does.
does, yeah.
It's like,
It's
what the
little fucking
fuck?
wasp. Wasp would have been the only other
Yeah, yeah.
appropriate name for that
Mm.
knife. I don't know if we
The
ever reviewed that knife, but it was okay.
The locust?
Yeah.
We did.
I think
We
we
might have.
did. I think we did.
I think
We
we,
did,
all
yeah, we
wanted
did,
to
we did.
go
We've-
on God, Jesus, plague quotes for the scoring. I think for that one, but yeah.
That sounds accurate.
A
Yeah.
plague upon thee.
Mhm. Anyway, pros and cons. What do you think about this little sumbitch? Is it a Buttonlock? It's not a Buttonlock. What
It's
is
a
this thing?
Lilac.
liner.
I don't
it's-
even know.
It
It's
looks
got-
alright.
It's got pretty good action. It actually of when we got our QSP order in and I got this one out, I was actually impressed with how nice it felt. And subsequently flipping the penguin, I was like, hey, it's okay. But the
Actually,
walrus is
I
quite
could get
snappy.
the penguin to fail on a couple different occasions, and
Yeah?
the penguin or the walrus was actually much harder to get to fail than the penguin button lock.
That's one of the risks you take with a flipper tab button lock for sure.
I think part of that as well, and I will note on it now because we're talking about QSP both ways, whether it's the Penguin Buttonlock or whether it's the Walrus. QC is kind of hit and miss lately from QSP.
It
I've
feels
been
like they're trying to rush stuff out in order to make that work.
I've been
Yeah.
seeing some gritty bearings, and I think that maybe is the problem with some of the Buttonlock Penguins that I've played with. Is the action out of the box is not like my action out of my box on my bronze washer or copper washer one was
Yeah.
smoother than the bearing ones that I'm playing with. And whether they're dirty, whether they're gritty, whether they're running dry, blah, 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 same thing. I mean, you had bearing grease on your finger when you took that picture, so that might not be the problem, but I don't even know.
It wasn't from the knives.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm doubling
greasing
back.
other bearings.
I'm doubling back to that one, but I'll give the Walrus credit on that, and really that comes down to the credit of it was much snappier when I played with it. I will give it credit for that.
The one on the shelf was snappy. This one was one of the ones in the box. It was also nice and snappy. Joe, I think, is getting a beer.
No, government mandated, but I'll be back in a sec here.
I see. I'm gonna rant it more. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, D10 action on this guy, pretty damn good. I gotta say, I will actually spout some specs on this bad boy. And again, QSP's 404 errors is making me happy, but Cutting Edge Cutlery Co. has this one on sale for $66.99, I believe. Let me quote that $66.99. Look at that. I know what I'm talking about. Damn, son. Yeah. So blade length is 3.375, just a hint over 3.5 or under 3.5. It has a cutting edge 3.2 because apparently that sharpening trial counts for something. Probably a stop pin also. Anyway, overall, just a hint over 8.125. It's D2 on this guy, not 14 to C28. 58 to 60 Rockwell. Thickness is 0.14, which is 3.5 mils, 4 mil, 3.5. It's got to be. If 0.112 is 3 mils.
And what was this?
0.14.
Yeah.
3.5 mils.
3.5, 4. Yeah.
She's a little thick. She's a little thick. And the weight is 4.09 ounces. So hint over 4.
Decent amount of blade space to get down to a decent tapered edge, but
yeah, and 3.5 inch towards the tip. She might be thick.
fuck.
I'm back.
So the most notable thing on this bad boy, Joe, blade thickness 0.14, 3.5 mils.
0.14. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's 3.5. So
Yes.
it's not inconsequential for sure.
No, the Buttonlock Penguin was 3 mils. So, and everyone's going slimmer and slimmer. So to see something that tapers to this much of a point,
man,
I was saying to Paul, she might be thick behind the tip.
Maybe that's why it's called the Walrus.
It's got
some tusk.
Well, at least it does come down to a pretty fine thickness behind the edge. I distinctly remember feeling the blade being like, man, that actually like a pretty aggressive grind on this.
Also makes me wonder if Paul has any pictures of it closed, where you might be able to see a distal taper on the spine.
Doesn't look like it. No.
Yeah,
at least
I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm trying to see.
I got it closed from the back, but not from the front.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I enjoyed that. Got some more perspective shots here. I'll toss some of those up at least. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind a little bit of a thicker blade for something that's or might be a little bit rough with. 3 mils is still kind of what I would consider like, yeah, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, sub 3, I've always found you're pushing thinner. Over 3, I've always found you're pushing into the like little chunk. Like it's and that's kind of the dividing line, right? 3 being the middle ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will also mention that we have just the single variety on hand at the moment with the green micarta and the black blade, but they do also make a brown rough micarta, black blade, also satin blades on all of those options, as well as a jade. So just like the Penguin Buttonlock, 3 variations to start. They haven't blown their wad like the Canary folder where they were just like 15 variations. Here you go, sons of bitches. Like
yeah.
These guys have been a little more toned down on their release, right?
3 variations, but 6 options from the sounds of it, yeah?
Yes. Satin blades or black blades, but 3 handle colors. This one being green. They say rough brown, which is like burlappy, I'm guessing.
I'm into
Right. Oh, is
And-
this one
and
on their
J's.
Is
website?
it like the Locust?
No, their website is 404 Arrow because of Chinese New Year or some shit. I don't even know. I'm making shit up. But
the Walrus isn't there? The Walrus isn't there. That's odd.
is this guy not listening to me or what the fuck? is
No,
going
I
on?
thought you said the whole website was 404. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The website's right
No.
here.
No, you can have some things. You can look at fixed bladed canaries that are about to come out. That's it. And budget versions of the otter that no one cared about for the last year, but we had to try to revive a knife that's already dead. Good job,
fixed
QSP.
blade otter.
No, budget otter. Fixed bladed canary, budget otter.
I see.
That's up on their website. You can look at it right on QSP's website.
Yeah,
It's fun.
that's
Don't worry about it. But that's no one cares about it. Because the fancy otter wasn't that expensive. So
no, it really wasn't.
I wasn't in love with the otter.
The fancy otter was a good bang for your buck. That's why we brought it in. But to make a budget otter is just like stepping on parrot toes. Stop stepping on parrot toes, dude. Like,
it's rude, really.
The parrot is not happy about it.
Not even a little
You ever
bit.
been bit by a parrot?
Yes.
Yes.
It hurts like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
I don't envy you guys in your parrot crimes that you've apparently committed, but
no, I was just a nice young boy being very quiet, and I got bit by a parrot that did not like me. I probably smelled like my cat or something. I don't know.
There happened to be a cockatoo.
Birds can't smell terribly well, so.
No? Oh, then I have no idea. Maybe I just look like an asshole. I don't know.
Had a cockatoo.
It's a parrot. It might have just been an asshole.
Had a cockatoo that you could bribe with ice cream and would scream my name in the middle of the night because it liked to repeat things that it heard, and I was a teenager at the time. So you point it with point it.
I like that.
So yeah, and so good times. I'm very familiar with uppity parrots.
That's too funny.
I've been harassed by a cockatiel. But they're
cockatiels are dicks. My father, again, raising parrots, blah, blah, blah. Cockatiels, there was a gay mating pair. Mm-hmm. They decided a long time ago that they were going to be 2 males that life bonded, and then a female can go to hell and get the hell away from them. And they were the grumpiest. Like, they were the Muppet dudes up in the, like, those were the cockatiels that my father raised.
Awesome.
Anyway, that's a story for another day. There's a walrus to talk about.
So a backspacer, is that backspacer G10? I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
It is, unless you're the Jade one. I don't know. Give me a second.
So you might be able to zoom in, but you might not.
Yeah, I can zoom in, but I can't see any texture on it, unfortunately.
No. I think it did have the texture.
The only companies that I know of for sure that do plastic backspacers are Kershaw, sometimes CRKT, but they usually do aluminum or something, and Benchmade. Those guys really like their polymer backspacers. Yeah, you like how he saved Benchmade for last? Yeah. Can you tell I'm salty?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little. Fuck those.
It's all right. Sleesh Bowie has a G10 backspacer.
Yeah, it totally does.
And people used to bitch about it. G10, yeah, I'm paying this much money, and you put a G10 backspacer? That was the thing, dude. Straight up in the original one, that was what people bitched about. Yeah.
I always thought that was such a cool little touch. Same thing with the Capara, giving it again. G10 is super stable. If polymer was like injection molded polymer was generally more stable and less prone to compression over time, sure, I wouldn't give a shit that Kershaw Benchmade used it, but yeah. No,
G10. People will find reasons. I can't find what the backspacer is made out of either, and until I'm actually holding one, I'm not sure. But it wouldn't surprise me. They're all black across the board. This one's not green either, right?
Right. Yeah, it is black. Yeah, it's black.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they're just G10 all the way correct, because the Jade one's also G10.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm on. I'm losing my.
It's probably. I seem to remember it remarking like, "Oh yeah, G10 spacer, nice."
So
I'm
even
pretty
even the
sure it's
Satin
G10.
hardware one has a black backspacer. So I'm guessing they're black G10 across the board.
Would
The
make
other
sense.
thing too is I don't think QSP really does anything with plastic injection molding. Even their sheaths are Kydex for the fixed blades. So I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think of all the folders that I've handled for them and seen, but I don't remember anything that's plastic. Like,
There's nylon. Everything's G10 in my card. I think you're right.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right on that.
yeah.
It's a good job. It's a good job. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Wait,
Yeah.
on the topic of that backspacer,
Mm-hmm.
um, I I don't like when companies half cut a lanyard tube or a lanyard hole into the handle and
Oh,
then use the
yeah.
backspacer.
Okay, but who started that? That's not a hinderer thing. That's shit. There was some custom knife maker who did that a lot and made it popular, and then everybody started. It makes sense as far as like a tie off point for a lanyard.
Hmm. But my
Ergonomically, I've never found it to be that big of a problem, but
no, this is actually a decent implementation of it. It's not too raised or anything like that. It's just
you think
I'm
visually it kind of throws you off a little?
well, I don't like the lanyard hole to begin with.
Okay.
So making it so I don't have an option to like try and like
Ignore it.
make it go away.
That's
That
actually
I
how I feel a little bit about the crossbones from CRKT, the Jeff Parks design, or the
yeah,
Calby, the new one that came out. It's same sort of deal where it's like, yeah, you implemented it with the handle decently well, but I would
that's
just
it.
assume not fucking have it.
Just give me this. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's got a pocket clip. That's all I need.
Well, I mean, my other travel carry is a Kaiser Weiss, so I'm just carrying that son of a bitch. And yeah, like clean as shit. Like
Yeah.
don't bother. Don't
If
just don't. Just
if you're
don't.
gonna if you're gonna put a lanyard option on it, you need to hide it. Do a good job. Do better.
Well, like the Appalachian Drifter. I don't
Hmm.
have one on hand. Paul's probably the only one who does, but it's probably buried. But yes, if you look up, that is seamless. You can't even tell it's there unless you want it to be there, right? Like it's
Or even like the Cubit. It's just an extra pin. It's just
Okay,
one extra
so
pin that you can tie off to.
Civivi's done that a lot with their
Yeah.
knives. I looked up specifically backspacer, but I'm not getting any results showing us, which is too bad. But yeah, it's just a nested pin or like a cut away section of the backspacer or the back spring in order to allow you to tie it off. Oh, can we see it here?
Yeah.
We can
I saw it.
just barely see it in this Blade HQ photo. Yeah, right at the butt end. There you go. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, where it's a little bit more thoughtful. Yes, it's slightly more of a pain in the ass to set up the lanyard without disassembling it, but
I just disassembled it. Or you pass a
yeah.
thin cord through and then use that to pull a thicker
I've
cord through.
seen guys use like microcord to
Yep.
tie off lanyards. Yeah. So maybe this is part of a discussion that we can have at a different time, bit of a longer conversation. But the idea of needing a lanyard for your folding knife to work, that's got to be such like a niche upon niche subset of the knife buying population. I maybe I'm wrong, but like it just doesn't seem to be that important
Well,
of a feature
and
for so many people to include with their stuff.
usually the company, if they have a requirement for you to be lanyarded off, eh, they have very strict requirements of what it's lanyarded off with.
Right.
And so you have to end up with a larger,
Oh,
you need a knife that was designed for that system to begin with to really fit. Like
yeah.
some of
Yeah.
the rock climbing knives that have the big open pivot that you can just put an entire carabiner through, stuff like that.
See, that is considered enough with the design that it doesn't bother me in the same way that, say, that shit does.
Yeah.
Or, well, I hate to pick on Spyderco, but I've only got the two Spyderco folders for this shit,
so
Like,
out of all the things,
And I mean,
yeah,
I can't
lanyards.
say much because
Yeah, but they do it sometimes, whether you like the style of the knife or not, type of thing, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
um, I'll just say, out of any of the guys I know, there's one guy that I know that likes to tie language onto everything. There was two guys, but I don't think the second guy even lives in North America anymore. So now I know one guy who likes to tie language on everything, and you can yank it out of the pocket with that. Sometimes the blade comes out by itself if you yank hard enough as you're pulling it out of the pocket.
That's terrifying as shit. Jesus
It's a
Christ.
bench. It's a benchmade. Get used to it.
Is the guy that I know?
Getting used to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
but yeah, other than that, there's absolutely no one that actually finds the lanyard whole practical on pocket knives that I know
So
of. Like it's
I tried it. And I hated it.
And lanyard, as we've talked about this on stream before too, but lanyard as opposed to
lanyard.
oh
What's lanyard?
no. The idea that a lanyard is actually something that you would have that like ties off to like a belt or you wear on your wrist or something like that, as opposed to something that you just a fob. That's what it was. Lanyards versus fobs. So like fobs, that's one thing, but nobody calls them fobs. They just get called lanyards. Okay, but if we're talking about actual lanyards, actual tie-off points to your belt, to a piece of kit, your harness, whatever, I could totally see that being useful. If you're by the river somewhere and you're looking over the side of a cliff or something, I don't know, you're in a weird spot where you might lose your knife and it's just gone after that. Okay, having the option to clip a carabiner and just tie it off.
Well, that's where you
Fine.
have one of those like lighter leashes.
Yeah, so it comes sliding right back towards you.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. Right back to your hip when you drop it.
Yeah. It's got to be such a small subset, but enough of a market, I guess, that companies can continue to do it for like
well, and
all
there's
of their
companies
models.
that like even like the Buck Budgie that is like airline flying friendly that I carry, and like they just like let's just throw it way the hell out the back because it's a small enough knife, no one even cares.
The thing is, too, it's like you're going to lose out on customers who need it in order to buy it, right? So you could just design it in and then not have to think about it anymore. So from the company's perspective on that point, I guess. Anyway, we've been talking about lanyards for way too long.
Yeah, when we can talk about the crappy clips.
You know? Yeah, what the fuck, guys? Come on. I maybe QSP has spoiled me, but I'm used to seeing them with pretty decent clips, and just lately. Oh, I think I closed that picture. Just give me one second. This guy. Yeah. What the hell?
I complained last week about the clip because I had nothing else to complain about. That is not the case here. This clip sucks.
Yeah.
And even the screw.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing there, guys?
There is a very slight benefit with this style of clip where it's offset. The ridge of your hand is able to pinch off of the clip in a way that's much more comfortable than having, let's say, a deep carry clip. Sure. But this isn't that. You already have a pretty heavily curved handle. A deep carry clip isn't really going to get in the way in the same way. Like, if you can imagine this just being deep carry, it'd probably be comfortable as hell. It's a pretty wide clip.
Why is it clipped at one edge on the screw side?
Don't know. Paul, I don't have a good answer for you.
Why are there only two screws and they're set up at an angle like that? I have questions with no answers.
I honestly don't know. I thought QSP was making pretty much all of their stuff in-house.
No, but even a cold steel clip Infinite has 3-hole pattern. This one's
Infinite,
only 2.
What are you talking about? What's Infinite?
QSP clips gotta have a factory deal with cold steel clips because of the curve on it. And yes, but at least cold steel clips have a 3-hole pattern that may or may not be.
So 2 screws is absolutely sufficient to hold a pocket clip in place. 100%. But if you have 3, then that means that if one screw starts to fail or strips or whatever, the other 2 will hold it in place. Ask me how I know.
1 is none?
Yeah, more or less. If you have just 2 screws and one starts to fail, or you strip it, or you lose it, or whatever, now you just have a singular point of contact, nothing to keep that clip in place, so it'll just fucking spin on the handle. It sucks. If there's room for 3 screws, you should probably just use 3 screws.
It's literally what I was going to say, yeah. No, not at all. If if you don't have the room to put 3 screws, 2 is fine. It works. But when you have the space, I can see where the screw would fit.
Yeah,
Why
it's
not
like
put it there?
less than like you may have to crimp the pocket clip like a half a millimeter further down than you would normally in order to get that. Like, come on, like it's weird. I don't know. It's a little odd.
Everything about this clip is just not QSP-ish. I don't know why they made this
It's
choice, but every
yeah.
other knife that QSP produces has a clip that makes sense with the design language.
And it does
Yeah.
one of the worst things that a cheap pocket clip can do is it comes up, from the mounting position fine, comes over very straight, which is great for your hand, but it doesn't have a long spoon sweep like you might see with a Spyderco clip or some of the older Benchmade clips. Instead, it's a very harsh, like, U shape.
Patwang! That's what the
Yeah,
sound it makes when it goes off your pocket. Is
I
patwang.
don't remember this knife being particularly nice in and out of the pocket. I don't know if Paul tried that before. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't remember anything.
I
specific
thought
about
you
it.
were gonna say that the worst thing about budget clips is having speed holes that don't make it go faster.
Well, that
Well,
too.
Don't tease me, bitches.
Look, we already brought Howard Vale up once this stream. If we're gonna bring up him again for the speed holes, it seems a little mean.
Hey, he made a way to make his knives fast, man. I'm just saying.
He figured it out.
Cuckoo choo, cuckoo choo.
He was a true pioneer. But yeah, the bend on this clip is fucking atrocious. I don't know. Every other model QSB's come out with that we've handled has been like the clip has been either such an afterthought or not. No, that's the wrong term. For us, it's been neutral. For us, it's been an afterthought where it's like, oh yeah, it's a clip. It's comfortable. It does the job. It may not be remarkable, but it's there.
It's functional.
Or it's amazing, and it's like, wow, this is a really well designed clip. It's super well integrated with the design of the knife. And then there's this where it's like everything else about this knife was actually pretty well considered, but then the clip is just like this sad little like Sen cut or no, not Sen cut, San Renmu afterthought.
I genuinely think that like they went through a catalog of pocket clips for all of their knives, and in most cases it works out just fine. And this just happened to be like the one option that had a curve to it. So they're like, well, we gotta.
It's just funny that the clip for the curve of the clip matches the curve of the handle like so perfectly.
Yeah.
So it's like either they designed the knife around the clip that they knew they could order, or they just designed a really bad clip.
Well, I mean, they might have just gotten lucky that the curve matched with the factory. And they're like, well, we got to use this one. It's perfect.
Yeah,
all the other ones look a little funny.
Maybe they know. Yeah, they knew that radial curve is whatever degrees, right? So that they knew they could make it work. That's actually possible. Sure.
I would have preferred a straight clip at an angle to make it work.
Yes. Well, okay. So straight clips on curved handles. Spyderco does it all the time. I don't mind it so much on their knives, but they also tend to, again, not utilize deep carry for that reason, where the contact is such a small pad. I don't know. It's just weird that like of all the things we could complain about this knife, it's the clip. That's like it's just such a weird fucking choice.
It's bad.
Well, and I mean, honestly, it's kind of, and I don't want to even see big knife, but it's kind of a big knife because of the Persian-y factor. Like when you play with this knife, it's not necessarily a small knife in your pocket. Like you pull out a PM2 and you're like with the Spidey hole in the one because of the Persian shape, and especially with the closed and the curved clip. This knife is a pretty, like it swings with the full-sized Griptilians and stuff like that, and it seems like you've got it up next to a penguin, and it's like, yeah, not much bigger. But then when you play with it, you're like, but it kind of is that much bigger than.
It's like a half-inch longer in the handle, and it's a more neutral handle, so it's a big handle.
Yeah,
it'll fit I bet you it fits a bigger hand pretty easily comparatively.
Yeah, definitely. Let's transition to some pros here. It's definitely a good mid to large size knife where it should be comfortable for most people. That handle profile, I know I've seen in a handful of other designs over the years. It works well here. Single finger choil, you have your sweep down towards your pinky, a little bit of a relief towards where your thumb might sit if you were kind of, pistol gripping it forward.
We have a Jared Sittler in chat
Oh, hello.
saying he's carried the QSP titanium penguin for a couple years.
Okay,
A
cool.
flipper would be great. You can get a titanium penguin with a flipper
But
and
it's
20
also
CV.
larger is the
It
thing.
sure is.
So if you are okay with the larger blades,
There are options. Is all
Also,
I'm
Jared, thanks for joining us. What are you
Yeah.
carrying tonight? Yeah, for sure.
Cheers.
The CJ, what are you carrying, son of a bitch? Come in here making Chavez comments, and then
I
you
bet you
drop
it's not
off
a
to face the
Chavez.
bench. Yeah, no doubt.
It'd be really funny if it was.
So I'm just gonna throw up a picture of the large penguin here in titanium and 20 CV with flippers, just to show you. Here's a lineup actually. That's perfect. So there's the titanium with the blue anode there, and then here's the carbon fiber with the flipper tab there, the full size. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, if you're okay with larger knives, I think you'd actually enjoy that quite a bit. And I will say that the flipping action on the frame lock, by the way, it's a frame lock, the large penguin is substantially better than the button lock on a button lock penguin as well. But
Jared's carrying the Rook 801 right now. That's the second time the 801 has come up today, isn't it?
yeah,
Classic. Yeah, you and Infinite just became best friends.
Indeed.
Here's the 801. Guys call it the budget Sabenza. I don't know about that necessarily, but it's
Spider-Man
pretty...
GIF indeed. Yeah, that's the theme tonight is the Spider-Man GIF.
100% it is.
Anyhow, yeah. What's the did we ever get a blade length measurement on the Walrus?
3.37 or something.
Yeah, 3.375.
Yeah.
You
So
might. I've read some random specs. I think when you went to the washroom. Weight split
okay.
that you came back on blade thickness and weight.
Right. What's the blade thickness? Yeah, we did talk about that.
I do like the plain pivot.
Yes. Okay.
Completely
so
plain.
I think yes, I don't mind the domed pivot that you get on the regular penguins, but this flat, that's okay. That's totally fine.
Out of the way. It's nice.
Yeah. Okay. So time to split hairs, guys. Do you like the QSP logo on the blade like this, or do you like it on the pivot? If you have to choose one location for it, because for me, I prefer it on the blade. Yep, 100%. That's
it's laser
funny.
etched in there, isn't it? I'm not gonna be able to like sand that off or.
No. So here's the problem. It's on a not DLC. It's on a black oxide coating of some sort. So that's just bare steel. That's what you're seeing right there.
Yeah, that's a shame.
There's no getting rid of that. You'd have to go with the satin blade version and then sand that if you wanted to fix it.
I was hoping it was a what was it, a Bass Pro Shops Buck 110 situation.
Oh, like an actual
Probably
applied
not.
logo of some sort.
Probably not. Yeah,
I was hoping.
So I think it's just a resist, dude. Yeah.
No, I think you're right.
That's overall. I mean, I really wish I could remember, but like this knife in and out of pocket, I'm struggling to recall if it was particularly difficult to lift the pocket clip from the side of the knife as you put it into your pants.
I don't think I actually put this one in the pocket because it's a right hand only, so fuck you.
It's fair.
I remember
Best point of the
actively.
night, yeah, drop an F-bomb, screw it.
I definitely remember looking at the knife and being like, "Oh, that doesn't look like it would be comfortable in the pocket," and I think that's as far as I got on it.
Yeah, I've already sworn a few times, more than a few times tonight, so apologies. But yeah, no, it's
You swear
what are they
all
gonna do?
the time. I
demonetize
choose my words.
I choose them. It's just I choose. It's just
I choose to use that word more often.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You've broken that word out in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it's awful. If I'm around kids, I can do a pretty good job of not just dropping F-bombs every 2 seconds, but yeah, anyway. Yeah.
Keep pivot on this one?
I would imagine so. It's not tooled, so holy crap, I really hope it is.
Well, I'm just there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine so.
I think what QSP does typically is D-shaped pivot barrels, the same way that Spyderco does on a lot of their stuff. Whereas Civivi tends to do some sort of milling on the underside of
Key.
the screw, and they key it into the G10. And something a little bit more fancy like that. I think these guys are just literally D-shaped. So there might be a little bit of slop before the screw engages properly with the bit that you're using, but
I don't know.
it's
Something
probably
to be
fine.
said for the reliability of D shape though too. Like it's just try to like just lock it in, be done
Yeah,
with it. It's
especially
not.
for companies where you're dealing with water jet or laser cut liners all the time, it makes sense. Like it's just such an easy thing for companies like that to implement. Like, why not?
The fact that all of their triangle pivots are in exactly the same orientation, and all of their gross flame QSP pivots are also in the same orientation,
Yeah,
tells me that they're doing something at the very least. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They
It's
wouldn't be that consistent if they
if
weren't
they
D'd
didn't,
or.
yeah, yeah. You're 100% correct. They're doing something in order to ensure that happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did we say what blade steel this was, or was that while I was
Yeah,
away as well?
D2 while you were gone. I
D2.
did the
Okay.
rundown rather than
Cool.
14C28, and that's what's keeping the price down. Again,
Yeah.
on Cutting Edge Cutlery Co.'s website, this bad boy is going for $66.99 on the polar bear dollar, so pretty good
Yeah.
compared to a button lock penguin. Bigger blade, 3.5, nice thick chonk. D2 rather than Sandvik, but slightly cheaper because of the D2 series.
In-house or at least in country steel versus importing Sandvik steel.
And I know that repeatedly me and Paul have talked about semi inconsistent heat treatment on D2. That conversation has come out probably a couple times on QSP's lineup in particular, on their D2 being like softer on this knife than it is on this knife, blah, 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 because we own numerous QSPs with D2 on it. But
Yep.
more and more feedback on the newer D2s, more and more are coming back on, man, they're good. They're just bang on, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, we bought our penguins half a
All
dozen years ago now.
yeah,
Like
pretty much
thinking
all at the
back
same
on it,
time.
2018.
something in there. And like my canary was not canary, sorry, Nessmuck wasn't that further from that as well. So I imagine that maybe within the last 4 or 5 years, again, just that refinement, that tone, that bang on, blah, 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 they seem to be getting better and better on their D2 because I haven't heard negative on QSP's D2 in a couple years now. Everyone that I talk to seems to be like, man, they're doing a great job. Even though we personally have had mixed reviews with maybe early QSPs, right? So maybe
Right.
we need to go back and revisit,
Yeah, I remember
buy
mine
some
being,
new D2 QSPs and play with
Look,
those.
the Bison V2 has been calling to me since they released it, and I just haven't been able to justify pulling the trigger just yet because I have so many knives like that. But
Well, I'll tell you what, when we get the fixed bladed canary, I'll buy one of those and you buy the D2 Bison and we'll do some
yeah,
Batani tests and outdoor field tests and maybe make a video out of that shit.
we really should. That'd be a great time.
break a
Fixed
knife.
bladed QSPs.
Hell yeah.
And then we can take the Nessmucks and then Paul will have a fancy canary we'll break and then I'll give him a couple pieces back after he's done.
Just throw it in the river. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get the company to write it off as far as promos, but it's funnier if you buy it personally.
Get the company to write it off, but not return it to me.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Well, now you're
delicious.
speaking my language. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
I thought you might like that.
All right, gentlemen. I think we don't have to have a crazy long evening. We're pushing 9 o'clock anyway.
Yeah.
Me and Joe are on the road here, so if we want to maybe do some summarizations, maybe some scoring on a walrus. Any other comments to say about a walrus? I think we've summed up everything we want to say.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. If you like vaguely trailing point blades, if you like D2, this is a pretty solid pick. I don't, again, outside of the clip, just being like a series of what the hell choices, pretty solid piece if you're
Yeah.
right-handed.
Absolutely. I just want to quickly touch on Jared didn't know that there was a large penguin. He also said something nice about us, saying that we should have, or we deserve more subs, and that his wife Teresa says hi. Hi, Teresa.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy. I will say, as far as the more subs go, and we're live stream, we do what we do. Some of us find this boring and just want to get cut to the chase and watch a 6-minute knife review. And sometimes we just like to have some drinks on Sunday, and we care more about the live stream and enjoying ourselves more than we do the repostability. And if someone wants to watch it in the background and watch it as a podcast type of thing, or even listen to the audio as they're doing something, honestly, that's probably the better venue for them to listen to our stream than it is actually sit down and dedicate visual audio. Because, I mean, we throw pictures up just to entertain you guys for live stream, but honestly, that's probably why we're throwing pictures up more than anything else, is to entertain you guys on a Sunday live stream more than we are the repost factor, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. Thank you. We appreciate that. So,
absolutely.
Scoring on a Walrus? Anyone? Cuckoo, Choo? Any references? Let's see it. Let's hear it. I got a good one, guys. I'm gonna go last.
I don't have a good reference, so I'll go with I give this thing 1 tusk out of 2 because they fucked up that pocket clip.
You deserve that one whole tusk. Couldn't it just be an old guy with like a broken old tusk on the one side? He's matured. He's proven himself as the QSP Ring of Fire.
You get 1 complete tusk.
Arena.
You get 1 complete tusk and 2/3 of a kind of gnarly, mostly broken tusk.
Okay, how old is this walrus?
How old do walruses get to be?
I'm looking it up right now, sir.
Okay.
I just want to say, I thought you were gonna make a comment about it only having 1 blade.
Well, I was
and the walrus tusk.
Gonna lead into that,
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the pro that gave it the tusk. But he is right.
30 years old in the wild.
Then this thing is like what, maybe 18, 19 years old. Like he's pushing the upper limit.
He hasn't hit that 20 marker yet. He's
but
lost a third of a tusk.
He's on the downslope. On the downslope. He's right-handed.
He's not going to make it to 21 the way he's going.
He's got to rethink his life choices.
That 30 is generous as far as his
he's on the lower end.
Goes.
The worst year of your life so far.
I think at 18 out of 21, it's probably not one of the best years. I think 12 or 13, he was living in his prime at that point. Like,
it's a decent knife. This isn't a totally dated design. Trying to be fair here. I'm trying to be fair here.
All right. 18-year-old 3/4 tusk I can live with.
All right. I'm gonna give this.
He's had some wars, man. He's had some wars.
He's seen some shit.
You were there, man.
He was there, man.
PTSD walrus. I'm here for it.
Oh no!
Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna give the walrus a cool 1,500 out of 3,000.
Okay, that's a 50%. I mean,
mostly because of the clip.
Hey.
Yeah, but where are we getting these numbers from? Come on.
The average walrus is about 1,500 pounds.
Okay.
And the world record walrus that I was able to find was like 12 feet long and 3,000 pounds.
That's terrifying, sir.
Yes.
But that also explains your score perfectly adequately.
Yeah.
All right.
It is an average walrus. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, all right.
It is an average walrus. That is a good score. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, that's a completely competent score. For sure. I don't have to justify 18-year-old 3/4 tusks or 2/3 tusks. I don't even know how much. I'm giving the guy an extra little tusk for no reason. It's
the old extra tusk.
Said. That's what she said.
Oh, she says a lot of things.
A little extra tusk for no reason. So I tell you. All right, so my scoring, you're gonna love it. What percentage is 51 out of 94, Joe?
What the hell are you asking me? Let me get a calculator. What am I looking at?
51 out of 94.
Out of 94, you're looking at 54.2%.
Okay, that's what score I give it. Now, the reason I give it that score, and hang with me here, guys, is that Sir John Tenniel was the artist that drew all the pictures for the Walrus and the Carpenter book back in 1871. And he lived to be 94 years old, but he drew those pictures when he was 51.
I
Okay.
see. I see. I'll give you.
So
I'll
one
take
way
it.
or another, we ended up at a 1/2 score from everybody. And
No
we
matter
all
how
like
you cut it.
and we all like the knife, but we think the clip's
With completely arbitrary scoring. You get
Wow.
a 6 out of 10, sir. What's our enthusiasm? 7 out of 10?
Oh, it's probably a 7 out of 10. Yeah.
No, I mean what we were notorious for. Fisk gave us a
Yeah,
shit
7 out of 10.
a hard time about
Yeah,
enthusiasm.
that's what I mean. Yeah.
That is
Exactly.
roughly what we came out to tonight. Probably a little lower. And my
Slightly.
personal enthusiasm is definitely not a 7 out of 10.
I think
No, but a 5 to a 6 out of 10 does feel right.
Yeah, that sounds like an adequate enthusiasm for this knife.
once
for sure.
again, just cutting it in fucking half. What the hell is it about this knife that makes us just stand right in the middle of any hard decision here?
The speedless speed holes.
It's the speed holes.
It's the styling of it.
Oh
as
my
well.
god, would we like this knife more if it had actual speed holes in the handle? Would that change it?
If it matched some other speed holes that matched the clip, I bet you it would.
Mhm.
You throw some speed holes in the handle, you just throw a couple speed holes in the blade.
Is that all
Bet
it
you all
would
of a sudden,
take?
fucking speed holes, man. They didn't make it
Oh,
fast
no.
enough. They were just like, here, it's fast. You're like, you made it
Can they
fast
do
in the
the-
wrong spot, guys.
The ZT style speed holes and do them horizontally across the blade.
Shut
Maybe
your
like
face.
2/3 of the way up, so that when you break it off, it looks like a broken walrus tusk.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. You should do
But
that.
it'll only break after 18 to 21 years.
1871
Awful.
is actually when
Thank
he wrote it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Just for the record, 1871. Get your shit together. Cuckoo, he's there.
Oh.
And he
man.
lived until the 90s?
No, okay, so that was the guy who drew the pictures. It
Okay.
was Sir John Tenniel. That wasn't Lewis Carroll. Alice in Wonderland, Good Times. He wrote the book in 1871. Sir John Tenniel drew the pictures for the Walrus.
I see.
Sir John Tenniel was 51 years old when he drew the pictures and died at 94. See, I told you, convoluted. Keep up. And it's still 50%, which is what you guys scored it to. But I got there a much more difficult way.
Yep. Oh, speaking of much more difficult, did we have any last wrap ups we wanted to talk about for SHOT Show that just happened, right?
I don't know. You're
Not
saying
really,
that
so.
like you actually have something to talk about. But
I
at
don't
this
have a
point
thing.
in my weekend,
don't-
it's a 5
I-
days in a mango, dude.
I-
like seriously.
Listen, I thought there was something, and I wasn't sure, so I thought I'd ask. I don't
There
have
probably
shit.
is. We might bring it up next week. but good
My
Lord.
brain is fried already.
Too funny. All right,
Yep.
gentlemen. It's been a good time. Double review. We got it under 9 o'clock even.
Yeah, holy
Indeed.
hell.
By 4 minutes.
It's not horrendous. That's not
QSP.
horrendous. Thank you to Cutting Edge Cutlery Co. for having all these knives at very reasonable prices.
Yeah.
We do ship across North America, so even the polar bear dollars end up being bald eagle dollars one way or another, if you want them to be.
Yeah.
So
If you were so inclined.
just saying. Anyway, yeah, pretty awesome. Glad we got some variations of these bad boys on the shelf. I will say that if I was picking a new Sandvik knife, I'd buy a Canary, not a new Buttonlock Penguin myself.
Yes, we did a review on that recently.
Just recently, go
last
back
week.
and watch
Yeah.
Canary reviews because that knife deserves more credit. God damn it, that knife deserves more credit. Anyway, yeah, like the Penguin did 7, 5, 8 years ago. 6 years ago when we bought this son of a bitch? I don't know. It deserved more credit. Now it's got crazy credit. The Canary is going to do the same thing. Get on that train.
At latest, it's 6 years because I started at the company in 2017.
And it was in and around when you first started. Yeah.
It was
There you
that
go.
year or the year after. I have a picture on Instagram of like within the first week of me getting it.
Cool story. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Thank you. Good
I
night.
was going to thank the new follower that we got on Instagram, but I can't pronounce our Instagram handle. So thanks to you, Gobbity Goo. Indeed. But yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate everyone still following us as we continue to grow because everyone else is getting like restricted. We're the only.
It's because we've been so quiet for so long.
Yeah, we're just watching everybody just get picked off. Like,
Man, it's been brutal. Engagement even for the stuff I put up for myself has been like, it's not great. It's not great right now. But
yeah,
we'll see.
brutal.
This kind of stuff does come in waves, though. So
Yeah, usually.
yeah, hopefully a little bit more kind as time goes on. But Dennis already thanked Cutting Edge for the opportunity to review these sweet little knives. Yeah,
I believe he did. Yeah,
good little pieces.
we're just waiting on him to let us leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's keeping us hostage.
And like he had said about the there he is.
All right. I'm back. I've only
He
got
made
a
it.
bit. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's all good.
Welcome back.
Sorry.
So
It was just like earlier today where I just all of a sudden just needed to leave. Right, very fast. Halfway through today, I was just like, I'm leaving now. And I had to go to the washroom very fast.
Didn't say a goddamn word to anyone.
Just-
Like, I'm going.
Was there and then he wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. That
today-
pretty much is exactly what happened just now.
Did you leave your wallet behind the toilet?
No, I'm good. I didn't check,
Bad
but
day.
I imagine it's probably not in my pajama pants.
Fat lot of good it would do you.
Look, today was a day. I don't blame him in the slightest.
Mm.
Today was a day.
That is fair.
God damn.
It was a good test,
Yes,
yeah.
yesterday was a day. The day before yesterday was too long of a day.
It was like 2 days.
Well, when your day starts at midnight,
and goes until like 6 a.m. Yeah, that sucks.
They
Anyway,
wanted to be like the end of your day is 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, no, that's not how end of days work, sir.
I guess the good news is that setup didn't start until 2.
3 because they were late getting
Wow.
there. Let's talk about that and how long setup was. Yeah. Let's carry on that train. Thanks for bringing
Neat.
up the sore spot there, Paul.
Anyway, thanks for joining us for a knife review.
Indeed.
Anyway, yes. I was thinking Cutting Edge Cutlery Cove. Did anyone else think other people?
I did thank
Yeah.
the Pokey Factor followers. I was going to mention one by name because we just got a new follower, but I couldn't pronounce his Instagram handle.
Right,
So he didn't get the shout out.
Well,
Too
you
bad
know,
for them.
it is what it is, but we appreciate it. Thank you all to Patreon as well. We've got a big thank you coming to you guys very soon.
It's actually happening.
Did just get restocked, so everything will be coming out to you guys. We'll also double check with Stance and everything is good on him because we do have some Patreon stuff coming towards that fine gentleman as well. Yeah. Anyone else that we need to shout out and thank and blah blah blah? I think we got it all covered. Thanks for joining us tonight remotely from the West Coast. We're backdrop, funky picture. I don't know what even that is, but yeah, art's a thing. Yeah. So
Patty joined us earlier. Patty, if you're still here at what must be 4 o'clock in the morning for you, go to bed, sir. Thank you for joining.
Good lord, 4 o'clock is not any time to have the end of a night. I just said it. Like,
I hope that he woke up in the middle of the night to pee and just decided to say hello and then goodbye.
So, but again, appreciate everyone who joined us. We should be back again next week. I don't think anything's going to stop us here. So
I think so.
As long as we got something to talk about, and we always find something.
We can wax poetic.
All right, gentlemen. 7:15 Mountain Standard Time. We will see you again here next week. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Everyone new. Glad for the shout outs. Continue to like, subscribe, share. All the fun times. Having said that, I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Aaron Joe.
And I'm xl.ca.
And Paul's been on top this entire evening instead of on the bottom. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Toodaloo.